Kathy Nichols, and I'm a lifelong artist, painter, and teacher. I help students of all ages tap into their creativity with watercolor. Watercolor is a great way to express yourself, and it's easy to get started and fun to do.
My watercolor lessons are designed for beginners of all ages. No theory and not too technical. Just follow along with me.
I hope you join me to learn how to paint with watercolor. I can't wait to see your paintings. Welcome to the first lesson in our Panoramic Forest series. A few years ago, I painted a panoramic forest scene. I recently posted it on Facebook, and it received several compliments and likes. In fact, I even sold it to a friend. I thought you might like to paint similar scenes, so I decided to show you how. We'll use 2 brushes, 7 paints, and 3 techniques. Welcome to today's lesson. We are doing a panoramic view. So in order to do that, we will not be using our usual full sheet. You will want to cut that in half. Pick up your liner brush. Load it with lemon yellow. And make a circle in the middle of the page. Take your liner brush and load with cadmium red. Make a line across the page. And take your brush and wet it and spread some of that color below the sun. And load your brush again and add some more. Okay, switch brushes to brown with pointed tip. And in this, we need to add some ultramarine blue, some sky. Load your brush. Start at the top and then water it down. And bring it down long. I find it helpful to start at the top and then work your way across. If some of it runs, that's okay. If it runs too much, you can just take your brush and soak up some of that paint. And sometimes when the paint runs, it's a happy accident, they say. Okay, let's set and settle a little bit. Sometimes I need to go back into the area. But right now I want to kind of let it soak. Now in this, there are some rocks down below here. Let's work on that. Load your round with pointed tip brush with yellow ochre. And let's make a faint line. You can water it down by just wetting your brush. Some rocks cropping up. You don't want to make them straight lines, just kind of scraggly. Now that it is wet, let's add some more color, some burnt umber with a touch of that burnt sienna. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now let's stop and give it a good dry. Okay, so along here is some trees. Let's stick with our round with pointed tip brush. Load it with sap green. Now, to do a tree, you draw or paint a line and then go on either side and draw the branches spanning out. And I find it's nice to start at one end and then work your way to the other end. And you don't want to make your trees the same height. Make some taller and some not so tall. Now this tree is on part of the sun, which I like that. That will be the tallest tree. Now you'll notice the trees towards the bottom, they get thicker. So if you don't like lines, you can just soften it by wet your brush and spread the paint. And it's okay. You want to carry some of that green onto the rocks. Now this is just some light layers, and we'll create some more layers, but let's first give it a dry. So still with our round with pointed tip brush, let's make some texture in the rocks by load your brush with burnt sienna and burnt umber. And put some dark spots. I love rocks and the formations and the different colors and shapes that you find. Just some sporadic shapes where there's some shadows being casted. So if the shapes are too rigid, you don't like the lines, you just take your brush and wet it and spread the paint. And that will get rid of some of those hard lines. And that's the subtlety that you can get with watercolor. It's just a lot of practice in fiddling around with how much water you use and how much paint. Okay, so now let's work on the trees. Again, you want to create those layers from light to the darkest. Take your round with pointed tip brush with sap green, a touch of ultramarine blue, and a touch of burnt umber. Now we want the top here of this tallest tree to be dark against the sun, because that will make the tree pop. And then bring it down and the color will start to fade, leaving some of the lightness of the other layer. And then when you come down further, you want to dilute that paint by just adding water to your brush, making it a thinner layer, almost opaque. Opaque. And just keep working along the tree line. And mix your paint as needed. Then stop and look at your painting if you find the areas where you need to rework. Well, let's give it a good dry. So I noticed the orange faded. And a lot of times with watercolor, that will happen. And I want that orange to pop more. So you can go back in and paint that in. And that's what I'm doing here. So load your liner with cadmium red. And some of this color is a little bit in the trees. Just a touch of it. So again, you really have to fiddle sometimes with watercolor. And sometimes people say they get frustrated because it can change quickly. But that's the fun and wonder of it too. And a little bit of the orange dragon out here. Carry down a little bit within the trees. Needs a little bit more here. And I noticed my sun has lost the round shapes. Lift some of this orange out, but also the sun is a little pale. So load your brush, liner brush with lemon yellow. There, that makes it brighter and pops. I hope you enjoyed this little watercolor. I think it's really fun to do this perspective. I hope you enjoyed it too. Join me next time for creative fun with Kathy. Join me next time when we'll have some more creative fun. To give watercolor a try, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, and take a lesson or two. Take care, be safe, and see you soon.